Good evening, wanderers. Tonight, I have dived into the deepest, darkest parts of our forest, and from the depths, I have recovered the most terrifying and unsettling tale I have ever laid eyes upon. If you are sensitive to such things, then I invite you to turn the video off. You have been warned. Disclaimer. The following story is set in the year 2016 and deals with real-world death and tragedy. We at the forest have nothing but the utmost respect for death and the fallen. This is not meant to capitalize or sensationalize their passing, but to honor them. If anyone is offended or upset, from the truly bottom of my heart, I wish to apologize. But now, without further ado, let us begin. I love Funko Pops. There's just something about owning all of my favorite series in one uniform type of figure that brings me such great joy and passion. I currently have a collection of over 300 figures and counting. Though they bring me great joy, apparently not everyone shares my passion. My girlfriend sat me down one day and said, "It's either her or the Funko Pops." That was the last time we spoke. I do hope she's doing well. So I collected my prized possessions and moved back in with my parents. There, my figures aren't shamed. They are displayed in all their pride and glory across several shelves across the house. I don't need judgmental people getting in the way of my joy. I just need pop figures. They are my pride and passion, and I would do anything for them. I just never thought they would be the cause of my death. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to go back a little ways. I was doing a little online Boxing Day shopping for new figures, as my parents thought that I might appreciate books and travel vouchers instead. What do they know? I came across a site called Go Funko Yourself. Okay, the pun alone had my interest. Apparently, all you had to do was submit a photo of yourself, and they would create a custom pop figure in your image. A complete and utter scam that was just trying to get photos of people? I mean, probably. But for a one-of-a-kind Funko Pop figure, I was willing to take that risk. I snapped my pic and sent it off, and to my surprise, a mere 6 days later, I had a package waiting for me in front of the house. I couldn't believe this was legitimate. I mean, I was thrilled to no end, and I tore apart that package. The figure was beyond all expectations. Every minute detail of my appearance was covered perfectly, from the fringe in my hair to even a small rip in my green jacket. I don't know how they did this and so quickly, but I was thrilled. There was only one small flaw in the figure. While I possessed dark green eyes, this figure possessed a piercing ice blue. I debated on sending it back, but it's a minor detail likely caused by a bad quality picture. I ripped it from its packaging because honestly, I don't care about the boxes. I care about the figures. I want them to feel real, not like some toy that I don't ever want to play with. And I placed it on the top shelf, front and center. It was glorious. That was when I noticed another figure in the box. This one was completely different and must have just been some sort of bonus. The box said it was an Alganna, and it looked like some sort of ancient voodoo priest. It wore a strange top hat and a very shrunken-in face. Honestly, the thing gave me the creeps, but I will never, ever turn down a free Funko Pop. I placed him across the room in with some figures that I'm just not a big fan of, and I didn't think much of him. But perhaps I should have. It was a few days later, on January 10th, I woke up in the morning to discover the Alganna had moved. No longer was he with the crap figures, but was standing next to David Bowie, the latter of which had been knocked down. I thought it was odd, but I figured probably my parents came in while I was sleeping and tried to do a little tidy up. They're always getting in the way of me and my things. That was until I got on Facebook and I saw David Bowie had actually died. A cold and creepy feeling came over me. But no, this had to just be a coincidence. I mean, come on. That was until 4 days later, when the Alganna had moved again. This time, it was next to my Severus Snape figure, who just like Bowie, was knocked over. I hesitated, But I opened Facebook, and sure enough, Alan Rickman had died in the night. This was getting way too creepy, even for me, so I took the figure and put him in a different room. I didn't like him being near my bed. Everything seemed to be okay for a couple of weeks, and then suddenly my custom Abe Vigoda figure fell over. I looked online, and sure enough, it was now undeniable. This pop figure was related to death. Now, this is the part of the story where any normal person would have gotten rid of the Alganna right away. And I won't lie, I considered it. But hey, this was a one-of-a-kind thing. There was no proof that he was causing the deaths. He could have just been predicting it. A rare pop figure that could predict celebrity deaths? I would be the envy of the Funko world if it was true. So against my better judgment, I kept him. Months and months went by, and again the Alganna struck. In a weird, twisted sort of way, I almost wanted to see him move more. Not many people get to see something so supernatural like this, and I felt special. Over time, my parents began to worry about my mental health and advised me to go out and start to mingle again. To get them off my back, I chose to do what they said. I ended up meeting this great girl named Maya. She was everything my ex wasn't. Kind, sweet, and had a great love of all things geek culture, and that did include pop figures, though she didn't really have any of her own. Through her, I feel I started to heal. I started to see the world differently, beyond just my passions. She seemed my way to, well, dare I say it, normalcy. However, given what happened, I wish I had stayed far, far away from her and everyone else. It was yesterday morning that I went to go see her, only to find an ambulance waiting outside her house and her parents crying. They tearfully told me that she had passed in the night. No blood loss, no cause of death, just gone. They told me that they wanted to give me back something that I had left there. They knew how much I loved my pop figures. I waited with bated breath to see which one they were giving me because I had never taken anything over. But in my heart, I knew exactly which one they were about to pull out. They had handed over the Alganna. This was it. This was my last straw. I don't know if he was causing or simply predicting deaths, but I was tired of it and I wasn't going to find out anymore. I took the thing out back and I did something I'd never have done in my life. I set him on fire. I watched the plastic on his face burn as he was sent back to hell where he belongs. That night I tried to will myself into a dreamless sleep. It did not succeed. I dreamt of a dark forest where a beautiful blue-eyed maiden was running for the trees as if she was being chased. Deep on her tail was the Alganna. Not some childish toy version, but the real thing. He tackled the maiden to the ground and tied her firmly to a tree. He began throwing different salts on her while chanting. And then suddenly, seemingly from nothing, he created a ball of fire. It was then that he turned right towards me, and he uttered a simple word. Kata. It was a completely foreign word, and yet I understood it perfectly. Fool. It was then that he threw the fireball upon the fair maiden, and her screams echoed through the night, jolting me awake. I have never had a nightmare that real or intense before. I didn't know what to do with myself. My parents advised me, after Maya's death, that I should take some time off school, but honestly, I welcome the distraction. Besides, I wanted to collect some information. At lunch, I went to go see the history professor, Dr. Andrews, and I asked him if he had ever heard of something called an Alganna. Alganna? That is an obscure figure. I wanted to laugh at his choice of words, but I urged him to go on. The Alganna is a benevolent voodoo spirit. Benevolent! I shouted. I imagine Maya would have a difference of opinion. Yes, he is an ancient protector and sworn enemy of the Tarak. The word was completely foreign, but it still sent a chill down my spine all the same. What is the Tarak? The Tarak is an ancient shape-shifting demon. It is extremely powerful, capable of killing from a great distance. with nothing but a stare. It has only two desires: to kill and to build an army. You said it was a shapeshifter. That means it can take the form of anyone? Yes, even statues or paintings. However, there is one thing the demon cannot change. No matter how hard it tries, it can never get rid of its piercing blue eyes. Everything in me stilled at once, as fragments of tabloid memories filled my mind. Every time the Alganna had moved, so had my figure as well. It was always directly opposite the downed figure. And now the cursed thing was home alone with my family. I forgot about school, I forgot about our conversation, I forgot about everything else, and I rushed home as quickly as I could, my heart pounding the whole way. I burst in the door, and I could instantly tell something was wrong. The house was way too quiet. My parents were always sitting watching TV at this time of day, but there was nothing but dead silence. I crept up the stairs slowly, and I found them in the kitchen. They were standing there, completely motionless. But then I saw their faces. They were horribly mangled, with everything below the nose cut off and stuffed into their cheeks to make them seem wider. They had become living pop figures, even though it was very clear they were no longer alive. I turned away from them. I couldn't stare at that horror any longer. But the view behind me was no less unsettling. There, gathered on all the floor and the furniture, were my pop figures. Only that there was something different. They all sported piercing blue eyes. Center among them was my figure. He wanted blood, and by God, he was going to get it. They all began inching towards me on their little plastic pedestals. I had no choice. I ran from my room as fast as I could. I locked the door, and I can hear them outside banging. They're going to get in. I have called the police, but what good could they do? The Tariq had wanted an army, and I just gave him a mighty one to command. They will spread across this world like a wave of fire. Nations and armies will stand no chance against them. They will bring the end of the world as we know it. And all because of me, of my vanity and my hubris. And to anyone out there in the world, I want to say sorry. I wish I never picked up those cursed pops. The police arrived shortly after, but there were no bodies to be recovered. All that was found was smashed furniture and lots of empty shelves. Wasn't that a horrifying tale? And in case it wasn't perfectly clear, April Fools, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate you all. A narrator without a listener is just someone saying creepy things into the dark, so thank you for dwelling in the dark with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I had so much fun making this video for you. If you have any ideas on any other stories or type of content you want to see, please let me know in the channel. This is just as much your channel as it is mine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next stroll.